SEC Network analyst Roman Harper is presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit bonus when you use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Harp texted me Sunday, I think it was. Looking at film, he was already fired up. So I wanted to get Harp on while Harp was still fired up. And as you've looked at more film, you've gotten even more fired up about Alabama's defense, Harp.
It's just some of this. Look, I've told you guys I was grading them on a curve all year, right? Like, what did I say? 3 things. The only thing I cared about, right, was third down percentage, which they stunk at this past week versus Vandy. They allowed 12 for 18, 66%, 1-on-1 on fourth down. Okay. The other thing was red zone defense. I think Vandy scored every time they got in the red zone. They pretty much scored every drive besides 2 or 3. You can't allow Vandy to put up 40 points. And then the other thing was turnovers, which they got done. And they gave away 2, 1 for pick 6. So that is a winning formula to lose. If you're Alabama, they got to understand that. That's what I understand. I'm grading them on a curve. These are the only 3 stats I even care about. And they were horrible in every single one of them. They got out-rushed, pretty much doubled up, 166 to 84. That's not going to win you any games, especially versus an option team. And when you're playing against option teams, you got to be disciplined. And so when you have pitch or if you have dive, you got to have that. And the person that has pitch can't be playing the dive. The person that has dive can't be worrying about what the pitch man is doing. So, like, these other things, it's like we had never seen it before. It's like they didn't really talk about it. And then all of a sudden when the game happened, it was like, oh, we'll just figure it out, coach. It's Vandy. We got it. And then all of a sudden Vandy punches you in the mouth. And Vandy actually give them credit because they actually went out there and beat Alabama. Like, physically, they beat them. This wasn't just like fluke. It wasn't like, oh, Vandy just survived. They led the game from start to finish.
Well, and
let's remind everybody that.
I think that's the biggest criticism now and the biggest wow from Alabama fans. As I said this yesterday, Harp, if you had on a white uniform, black uniform, no numbers, no names, there wasn't a difference. Like watching that game, like, wow, that talent outweighs that other talent. It looked like an equivalent game. And back to what you saw on film, Kane Womack has been getting destroyed, and maybe this is deserving. Should the adjustments, when you've got the talent of Alabama at halftime, when you're down 23-14, should you be able to make those adjustments and be able to pull away and win that game 99 out of 100 times in the second half?
I mean, that's what Vegas said. The odds were like, oh, Bama by 2 in the second half. Why not, right? Not like I'm a gambling man, but look, they was and we said that last week too. Is that the person that made the adjustments last week in the Georgia-Alabama game was Georgia and Kirby Smart to be able to make the adjustments and get their team back into the game. Alabama did not do that. And then when I saw it again this past week, Alabama did not make the adjustments to try and get their teams in better situations. And look, offensively, they were pretty good. But defensively, they never slowed down Vanderbilt. And it's not like Vandy really went away from anything that they were doing on the first drive to the second drive to the third drive. And so maybe we need to not try and do as much, and let's just simplify it and say, hey, look, this is what we're playing because this is what's killing us, and we got to get this thing stopped. And then when you have all of a sudden the shuffle pass that showed up 3 times for huge gains every single time, or 2 times for huge gains, like, you cannot take the easy way out in defense. Like, you can't do it. Deontay Lawson went underneath the block. When you go underneath the block, you cut everybody else out. You got to work extra hard to get back on top, whether it's giving up 3 or 4 more yards, going backwards to get over the top of a block. You got to do it. Like, these are the things that's not getting hit home with, and I've seen it for multiple weeks, and you got to get these things corrected because the tape is out on you. So people see it. I'm not the only one that's watching it. So right now, the mystique, the jersey of Alabama is just a little bit lower. And so people are going to attack you and not treat you the same. And so until you get these leaks fixed, people will continue to flood you. And that is what's happening defensively right now for Alabama. It has not been good. They need to get a lot of things straightened out. And I saw many things. I also saw guys making business decisions where somebody's running and they just dive into the ground, hoping and praying somebody trips over them. Like, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And so you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. And right now, I'm pretty sure they're not coaching it. But if you allow it to happen, you're just as guilty. So they got to get these things cleaned up.
Can it be cleaned up? And I go back to what you told us. You're the first one that told me, and LT told me I could get ready for 45, 43 shootouts all season long if Alabama was going to win games. Can you change schemes? Do you have to change schemes? Can it be coached? Is there any positive in the future for this defense, or it is what it is until you get to the offseason?
So you can't change schemes. We're already the ship is already sailed. So you can't change schemes. But what you can do is you can get better. All right. Where are our eyes at? Like, people do not understand the importance of eye discipline when it comes to playing defense, or especially the secondary and especially the safety position. All right. The 1 4th and 1 conversion where they roll to the left, make somebody miss, throw it up. And the safeties are looking in the backfield. I'm tired of hearing about this vision coverage defense. Remember all that this offseason, guys? That's what we heard of. Vision coverage, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Well, vision doesn't mean I get to look in the backfield at the quarterback. He ain't throwing it to me. Where are my threats? You have to have ability to recognize who's actually a threat out here, who could run a route, and who could go down the field. By the time Malachi Moore and Keon Sabb saw the receiver, he was right beside him, 8, 9 yards down the field. They were looking in the backfield and then looked up like, oh, man, that guy's running at me. Too late. He's got a full steam ahead. He hadn't been touched. And he's running right slap down the middle of your defense, and nobody sees him. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we teaching these guys? And it's not just this game. I've seen Keon Sabb have responsibilities in a flat and number 2 through the zone. And maybe they're teaching it that way. I'm not in the meetings. But in every other defense I've been taught, when it's 2 through the zone and you're a flat player, you run with him on a wheel route. If not, what are we doing? But he hasn't covered it. And so if we're allowing it to happen, we haven't got the problem fixed yet. We're in game 4 or 5. What are we doing? You can't keep having these eye violations in the secondary, because the quickest way to lose the game is over the top of the defense. And so if you don't get these things fixed, this is what you're going to deal with all year long. And so I don't know, guys. I'm not in those meetings. I'm not in there coaching the DBs. I mean, I wish I could a little bit, but I'm not in there. That's not my job. I only watch film and I only talk about what I see. And I'm sorry if I'm brutally honest and it hurts anybody's feelings. All I would tell you then is to get better. If you don't want me to say this, then get better. Because I don't say this about everybody's defense. I say it about yours.
Roman Harper is with us. He joins us each week from the SEC Network, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. Dunaway told me first time since 2015, no fumble, no sack, or no turnover, no sack.
In
right?
an SEC game.
In an SEC game. And a lot of people in the chat room wanted us to ask you, it seemed like Alabama had success pressuring the quarterback with blitzes against Georgia in the first half. They did very little, if any, of that Saturday against Vanderbilt. Maybe it was the option slowing that blitz down. I don't know, Harp. But why were they struggling to pressure Diego Pavia?
They got there. They didn't get him on the ground. They missed him multiple times. And so you got to get that part squared away and fixed. Like, that's one thing. But, I mean, overall, like, Vandy's offense does make it a little bit harder. And Diego Pavia is a slicker guy and does certain things that makes it hard to actually get numbers of sacks. But there's still no excuse. Like, you got to play better. Like, you just got to play better. It doesn't – everybody can sit up here and talk about the play call and what we can do better. And look, it doesn't come down to that. It doesn't matter what defense we call. If we don't execute it, we don't play with the right effort, we don't play with the right leverage, it doesn't matter. Like, the one thing that ticks me off a little bit is, like, how everybody's all on Malachi Moore, right? And maybe you guys want to get to this in a second. Maybe I'm jumping ahead. But, look, he had plenty of chances for him to make plays during that game where we're not talking about him showing his tail at the end of the game, all right? Eli Stowers catches the ball on 3rd and 8 on a sprint out. Red Morgan's getting drugged, okay, because he's a bigger guy. He gets on his back. He's trying to get him down. And instead of Malachi Moore being on a dead sprint for 10, 15 yards to go get a piece of this guy, and get him down before he gets the first down, he jogs. And he's not the only one that's doing it. I see it on tape. The last drive, or the drive before the last drive, when they scored on, they run an option play to the right side of the offense, left side of the defense. They're jogging. You're in a race to get the guy down. Like, tackling's 80% want to. And right now, I don't see the want to in Alabama. Defensively, that changed, or you're going to see a lot of more results. And Alabama's going to end up with 3 or 4 more losses because they're not just better than these teams. And so if you think you can just show up and be better, that we're better by just wearing a clear-colored jersey, then that's what's going to happen. These are the little things. And this is the captain. And captain, what do they say? Attitude reflects leadership. Captain, in the great movie, what the hell's the name of the movie? Denzel Washington's the coach.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Sorry. I got Disney in my ear over here at the car. Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership.
Obviously fired up Roman Harper.
I'm not even that fired up. I was worse yesterday because me and Cole were talking about stuff and he told me some stuff because he called the game and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was just a whole bunch of red flags, but it's fine. It's, you know what I mean? I'm still dating her, you know? We ain't going nowhere.
I'm still dating her. All right, Harp, have a good week. I'm glad we got you on early to let you vent a little bit. It was worthwhile. We appreciate the time.
Oh, man. Thanks, guys, man. Hopefully we'll see how it goes. South Carolina's coming in. It'll be a great game. Hopefully so.
Okay. That's it. We'll see. 21.5 point favorite is what Alabama is now. Thank you, Harp.
21.5?
21, not 41. I don't think Alabama can give anybody 41 right now.
No, 21. Okay.
21.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
See you, Harp. Thank you. MyBookie.ag is where you can play that. They sponsor Harp. Code next round to double your initial deposit. That is free money to play with at MyBookie.ag.